Vybz Kartel is said was being paid $1.35 million US.
Naturally, we can't be charging our fans and going to them with this exuberant price.
Cartel should get more money. What he's getting now is great, but it's not enough.
A lot of persons on social media, they are not real patrons. You understand? They are not the one who are going out to patronize the artists at these events. So them just attack.
Something I forgive because I don't feel like an artist that is known then for working with a band, like in Berry's case. Can you imagine Berry's on tracks?
Yeah, and a hype man.
Since he went out of prison, he just wants to do big stadiums or big arenas in the US.
Business and we stand on business. People are back inside the bush. So make your sweet catch me. Wake up your shirt like 60. This one from my yeah.
My analogy of that is like Massicka reignited Black Cartel.
Facts.
It's not radio, it's Levels with Kshema. We're there with episode 15 of the Levels podcast. Big up to my co-host KRIS in the building.
Present and correct. You don't know if it's not the place. And as usual, we give thanks to the first that is our life. And trust me, you should as well.
Look at the man.
That
you know
is
the
it.
Shreps before we get tonight. Big up to the Levels community. Thank you to our new subscribers. And if it's your first time checking in, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. Be a part of the Levels community.
Real man, click on come, you can level the vibes with you. See it?
Yay. But KRIS, you know it's not business as usual, right?
Our van.
We've been MIA.
No worry yourself. For the return, it's the return. Trust me.
Yeah,
life
yeah.
is life, and content creating not easy. Remember me new tweet, so.
So you say you're doing it for months.
No. Jaja.
But yeah, you know, getting our schedules aligned, you know, that in itself is a challenge. But the good thing is, we're there.
Yeah, the grand return. So here we are, sold out podcast. That's it, the point. Yeah, give you a sold out podcast.
Do the right thing.
Yeah, click, subscribe, like, share, comment.
Right. But that's why you come out so bright today.
Yeah, man. Fresh lemonade at you see me?
Sure. Now, of course, you know, we timeline festive as usual, so we'll have a bag of things to talk about. Vybz Kartel's Atlanta review, we were there, and yeah, we have an honest review on that. We see where the announcement of Vybz Kartel's $1.35 million US fee has sparked, you know, conversations locally and globally. And well, we're getting it. But KRIS, how you think we will kick it off?
Yeah, I could hear what going on with Trinidad. You know, say a hotspot that with all of it happen. The Collapse Festival and all of that. So
yeah. And you know, we see where SIZZLA in his latest interview with Richie B, him actually addressed the $1.35 million US like we him think about it. Check the levels.
Artists are charging money. Vybz Kartel is said was being paid $1.35 million US. Do you see the popularity, the growth, and the respect for our music allowing more and more artists to be able to command that kind of revenue from performances going forward?
Well, artist to fan to artist, yes, it's great. You know, the artists deserve every bit of their work, but naturally, we can't be charging our fans and going to them with this exuberant price. No, it's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to the promoter. It's not fair to the country. Or also overcharge, because when we overcharge, we're just basically chasing our fans away. You know, personally, I know, we're not going to take under what we truly deserve, but at the same time, we can't overcharge the people, because the fans, they're really loving people and they love the artists, and we don't know what they've experienced throughout the lifetime coming up, a lot of them being inspired by her music. So it's not just about money. It's about the moral for the people and the duty and the down unto us, because the people they're looking towards us for that redemption, for that salvation, because they remember Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, they know what the reggae music does for them. So for us to be charging them in this time total amount of money where they can't afford the tickets at times, it's really heartbroken.
Wow. I mean, you hear SIZZLA right there saying that, it is heartbroken. And while you might explain, say, you can't overprice, but you also have to know your worth in terms of you don't undervalue yourself as well.
Absolutely. I think this is a very comprehensive answer, and I think it's a very fair answer, because with the whole, with the promoter revealing the actual figures for Cartel, obviously we see a lot of comments about it, including like from Chin saying that a lot of other artists going to start
Increase
which I think what he's saying is facts. You get what I say? But as well, in SIZZLA answering this question, I feel like SIZZLA put context to it to say at some point we have to understand, say, when you charge, it's not just about charging the highest fee, charging the promoter the highest fee possible, because whatever you charge the promoter essentially goes, is the fans are going to really absorb that charge.
So of course, Bobby Clark from Irie Jam Radio, he's saying that he believes that Cartel to get more money. Check the levels.
Cartel should get more money. What he's getting now is great, but it's not enough. If you're booking Janet Jackson,
Right.
and she's selling tickets in the same venue that you just put Cartel, and you're selling more tickets at a higher price for Cartel, because he's doing the numbers that superstars, national, global superstars are doing. Everybody's going to want more money now. And here's the story. And I'll say it out loud.
Right.
Your numbers have to make sense. Because if you can't fill up the numbers and you can't get the people to come out to see you, then we as promoters can't book you.
Okay, me hear you, Bobby Clark. Me hear you. And, he's saying that based on the numbers that Cartel is doing, then, with that said, Cartel should be paid more. Do you agree with that notion?
Yeah, well, he puts it into perspective, so that's a different thing. And like I said, regardless of what, if there's an event, everybody's interest has to be considered. That's because it would be interesting to see if he was keeping an event.
If he would pay Cartel more.
And not just that, if this would be his
stance.
Response or his stance. You understand what I'm saying? Because everybody will have something to say until they are in the situation.
Yeah. Every promoter, it's a business. So if an artist is going to charge X amount, you're going to determine how can you make back that amount that you spend. And ultimately, like you would have underscored just now, it means it's going to trickle down to the fans them. So the cost to enter the event is going to be more.
Which is interesting when you hear like say fans just on social media just loosely talking like, oh yeah, the ticket, this person ticket at this price and the person ticket that, at the end of the day, that coming like when you're a part of a state or a country and you don't understand, say, when you, whatever the politician put in place.
Or increase tariffs then, for
yes,
example.
Increase tariffs. Somebody has to absorb the charge.
The consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just, it leads me to believe a lot of persons on social media, they are not real patrons. You understand? They are not the one who are going out to patronize the artists at these events. So them just attack, them just drop a comment when them feel like, oh, get.
And I do understand the notion to KRIS where people are saying that now hearing that Cartel is charging 1.53 million 1.35 million US dollars. Thanks for that. It now means that is going to be a measuring stick for the industry almost. So when people look at it, it will feel like if you're not charging within that region, if you call yourself a top artist, then it means that you're underpricing yourself and that type of thing. So it definitely going to trigger. It already triggered has triggered a conversation, but it definitely going to cause people to increase their fees.
Yeah,
and that's just the reality. Not to say you're going to charge the same amount that Cartel is charging, but you're going to try to measure up as much as you can.
Yeah, and that's why it was. I think the promoter, regardless of where he go through and all of that, that was like a bad move. And then not only that, people also have to understand, sir, Cartel can command a certain amount significantly higher than even the next artist, the artist who is next in line to him, because he has
Pulling power.
Yeah, he have pulling power. You understand? He have a catalog where people want to deny presence. At this point, we not even know if people don't care how well he's delivering it or not. For the most part, because he's definitely the biggest, the entertainer in our culture at the moment. We have the biggest pulling power.
No,
I would say.
Hands down.
Yeah.
And unless you find yourself in a situation where promoters at large believe that you have that pulling power, you're not going to be able to charge 1.35 mil US for
You
any
probably can't even
event.
charge half of that.
No, not at all. And speaking of which, speaking of half, SIZZLA, the promoter initially said that SIZZLA wanted to charge what Cartel is charging, and SIZZLA issued his very own press release. And basically what he's saying is that because he was now the new headliner, he wanted 50% of Cartel's remaining amount.
Right. So if we understand the statement correctly, that's what they're saying. And if the maths are maths, if the maths are maths, it would have seemed like SIZZLA request an additional 200,000
US dollars
to headline the show, because Cartel would 400,000 would be outstanding for Cartel. So 50% of that 200,000. Fair ask by SIZZLA or
look, I feel like it was a fair ask by SIZZLA, and even the promoter indicated that SIZZLA, he understood where SIZZLA was coming from, and he didn't think it was unreasonable. He just didn't think that he didn't want to pay it, because he felt like with SIZZLA headlining the show, it means they would have still have to go deal with refunds, because a lot of people would have paid to come to see Vybz Cartel.
Which is true.
Now back to SIZZLA, and to finish the question, if I think it's a fair ask, SIZZLA also outlined that he was performing with his band. Cartel was using tracks, and then because he's now the new headliner, it puts him in a position where he can renegotiate irrespective of signing off on a previous contract to say, this is what I am charging you to perform.
Yeah.
He was within his right.
Yeah, and you have to think about it with him having like band members. Maybe with this information out there now, you may have band members like Dada. You have to up the price, because really and truly, and some people are going to say a pocket watch, but if it's just like you're working at a company and you feel as if you're doing a particular job, even if you're not doing the same job as your manager, but then you hear say the manager get a significantly higher than where you get, and the manager walk off, so you have to go in at the role of the manager at that point. You have to feel like, say, all right, up with the money,
Yeah.
So,
and musicians, again, they would be within their rights, because if they are charging a particular fee based on the understanding that, okay, this is where the artist gets, or whatever the case is, if them feel like with the work that I am putting in, this is the value I am putting on myself. So it sparks a conversation where not only entertainers are going to want to increase their fees, but will we see where musicians now are going to reassess them price?
That's it, because because I don't think most musicians don't have an idea of the actual figure that an artist charges. So with all these figures being thrown around now, including like what Buju charged for previous shows. You understand?
Cartels, Trinidad, and Saga.
It make you wonder to yourself now, will you eventually see musicians saying that they are not being compensated fairly, or what? So it's a whole lot it's a domino effect.
Domino effect indeed, because we see even the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, she's now saying that she wants to know where the promoter gets access to all of that forex for payouts. And she also talked about people in Trinidad can't even access forex for medication,
medical supplies or anything,
you know,
like
for
that.
medication.
And
And
small-
she
other
spoke
small
about small
business.
businesses as well. So, and then we also understand that the finance minister in Trinidad, his investigation is ongoing. Him not revealing findings them yet,
Yeah.
but we also know, said the promoter, according to him, said that everything, you know, was legally done. Him
Yeah.
having receipts and, you know, it's above board
Right.
and that type of thing.
And it's to be honest, know that because at this point they're not pushing that narrative because obviously I guess the investigation is pending. So they are more pushing, they are more questioning how with whatever the system have in place, why one person was able to access so much US dollars
When
to
Trinidad
make
seems to
payment
have a real
to one,
issue.
yeah, to make payment to an artist when Trinidad have a real issue with foreign exchange. So maybe I don't, maybe it's like to be honest, I empathize with the promoter because when you
Even
hear
though in truth, I get what you're saying, you know, that you empathize with him, but even though in truth, when you really look at how things spiral, he brought that on himself because of how him go ball out, say,
Emotions,
Cartel, I get 1.35 million US dollars. Because if that was not revealed, there would not have been an investigation by the Trinidadian government as well.
which is interesting because that interview that I hear you covered, really good interview. I feel like the person asked all the questions except asking him whether he feels as if him revealing the actual figure caused a bigger negative impact in the whole situation. But maybe and it sound like a journalist like that, it sound like them would have that question, but them probably ask for not.
And not only that, but I think even the promoter kind of, because there was a question that was asked when the journalist said how much the other artists them get, and the promoter's response to that question was he used percentage. He said, "I will not reveal how much the other entertainers get, but 90 to whatever percentage was paid out to the artist." So that in itself tells me him understand the blunder. Him never address it outright, but the fact that he took a different approach.
Yes, I wouldn't reveal figures,
right,
yeah.
like by not wanting to reveal that. But in truth,
I'm sure that get him.
I make all us stumble down on him.
Right.
Not true.
But here's the thing why, personally as a person where we got to like obviously if we have interest in our artists, we want to see them. The only way for us to see them is for a promoter to take on that risk to bring them to the region, because it's not like the industry can't do it without promoters. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, it's like really look on it's still, with all the information coming out now, it makes me wonder, did he really have, and was the issue in Trinidad with the forex shortage and the limitation, was it really the problem why he wasn't able to fulfill his obligation timely? You understand what I'm saying? And it's just sad if it's a case where...
That's an interesting question too, but then when you also listen to what Cartel said, you know, it's been months and months and delays after delays, and even though he spoke to it being like a holiday weekend and not being able to access certain things, one can look at that to say, was that another excuse or was it like truly a legitimate reason? And people are also arguing that if you get 950,000 US dollars, you could at least show up at the event, probably make it public that, you know, there was a contractual breach. I am only here because of you, my fans. I will not do my full set. Me just going to do a short performance. Me and the promoter will have a fallout, because that is also a narrative on social media where real fans are say, we could have do this, you know, but contracts are binding and business are business, and it comes down to an individual's discretion.
Yeah. He's not obligated to do it.
No, he's not obligated to.
But
so it just comes down to discretion, and you know how that go.
Yeah. You don't know, sir. A business they must stand on before they stand on the stage. You understand what I say?
But the thing is, will standing on business mash up a business?
Yeah, but we've been complaining, sir, the business needs structure. So, so see the structure, you know. To be honest, like I say, it's the discretion of Cartel at that point. But if he don't feel like doing it legally, it's nothing. But would have as I said, my concern is just it seemed the fact that said the Prime Minister, you know, said the Trinidad Prime Minister, bad one, you know. But she said load up a matic, light them up. Yeah,
Yes.
you know why she in your business, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the fact that she get involved, and when one thing I can tell you, if you're with the level of attention that this whole thing has become as it relates to just how this one person access this amount of money, it make you even it let you even wonder if it's a case where the 950,000 when access to get to Cartel at that time, if that's even it's in problem work miracle forget that going. You understand what I say?
Probably he did.
Because remember there's other expenses that he has to. It wouldn't be only Cartel money him have to deal with, you know. Him have other expenses to get done because you see the whole stage is set up and everything. Other artists get every artist get at least a deposit.
Yeah.
You understand what I say?
But it makes you wonder too, was the promoter from the get-go operating at a loss? Like how did he expect to, say, gain a profit? Because you spoke about the logistics, the layout, that in itself takes money. The lighting company at the event complained because one patron go mash up them lights. So, you know, so these are other elements, you know, that there has to be a payout. The event went on nonetheless, and you're talking about entertainers, like you mentioned, who were given a deposit. And then you're looking at the 1.35 million US dollars. Hearing everything, hearing the conversation, do you foresee then that the promoter in truth was probably operating at a loss? Like from the get-go, like how was he going to get all of that money back?
Was it confirmed whether it was sold out yet, or was it a sold out event, and how much? I guess we don't know that.
Yeah.
So and you said, but that's a good question still, and maybe because so far since Cartel release, most of his the shows that are successful are really shows that that he's like the sole advertised act, and then he'll bring supporting acts. You understand? Because I think remember CJ Milan, her event reggae, it's a festival, reggae fest. It's usually multiple entertainers, but it's like just how based on how Cartel situation is now and like what he commands as it relates to the cost and all those moving parts, probably him the need for scale it down, like just really focused on bringing a cartel event to Trinidad.
That's how the event started out initially. Like it started out with Vibes Cartel, and then now I think as time progresses, you hear the other entertainers were added on it. Because if, for example, there wasn't that big flare up during Carnival week where one artist went on a hunger strike because they must say Cartel can't perform in a Carnival week, it would have been Vibes Cartel alone, for example. Like that's how they started. That's a Yankee boy. That's a Yankee boy, right?
Yeah, it's about the culture. So
that's how it started out initially. So, you know, what actually led him to add more artists to the lineup? Is it because the problems and the delays of which Cartel speak was probable? Like him say, boy, all of that are going, so make him just get some more artists on it. I don't know.
No, probably took on
this
more
is just
than,
like hypothetical.
Yeah, probably
you
took
know?
on more than what him could actually manage.
And he said that. He said that in the interview as well. But the interesting thing is that this whole saga has sparked international conversation, because we see where European promoters, they have entered the chat. Check the levels.
Buju is asking for crazy money, and since he went out of prison, he just wants to do big stadiums or big arenas in the US. But he just came for one show. The first show was in Summer Jam in Germany, and he got paid 100,000 euros. 150,000 euros. It's crazy money. So the thing is that Buju Banton, he doesn't want to tour anymore in Europe. He doesn't want to tour because he pretends to get paid, 20,000 per night. And it's impossible in Europe. And Burns Hammond, same. He wants to come to Europe. He wants to come with 19 people touring, and he's asking for crazy fees. Buju, Burns Hammond can put, let's say, 600, in between 600 to 1,000 people in a venue. So how much you have to charge per ticket to get what he wants to, what he expect to be paid?
So Barry,
So
Barry
Well, you
can
know,
for
I
5,000
think
people?
not more in Europe.
I,
Just in England, he has a
yeah,
huge
I
fan
was
base
about
in
to get
England,
there.
but not in Europe. And they don't want to adapt at the Europe reality.
Okay. Chris, your immediate reaction to that European promoter?
First and foremost, I don't believe him when he must say Burris can only draw 600 to 800 people.
Not my
I
berries.
don't know where my carry Burris go. So come down with that, sir. However,
Yeah.
he makes some solid points as it relates to just the booking, the range of booking fees for entertainers. Clearly, there is no standard, or whether there's a standard is like people not take into account the region or the economic reality of the
What it
regions that
means.
they're going. And the reality is the entertainers have to understand, which I think them understand. So I think the fans need to understand, because some of the fans blinded by the reality to say when an entertainer charge this exorbitant fee, it means that you as the patron have to pay that. Actually, Buju actually responded to that promoter.
Yeah, Buju did. Right there, you see Buju Banton say, no more exploitation, boss. But what do you think about even Buju Banton's response in particular, Chris?
I wish Buju did kind of, I know it's just in the comments, but wish he did expound a little more on that. Even though I think there was a play, I hear, either see it somewhere that Buju saying that they're not saying in the past he had to pay his band out of his own pocket. You understand? I think we hear that somewhere, reported somewhere. And again, this is why I say I can't believe everything what the man they say.
Yeah.
You get to me? I say just the fact that him said Barris I only pull 600 or I don't know which part of my carry Barris go. I don't really feel like it's credible. At the end of the day, it depends on.
But this is what I don't agree with. Like with him calling out Barris to say, for example, him outline and say Barris. His team have 19 people.
Yeah.
Burris Hammond is a legendary singer in our culture. And if he feels that his team is 19 members because him having backup singers and he may have like additional musicians to give the fans like a comprehensive performance, and tweaking that 19 can possibly mean say he's compromising his standard, like what he's known for, because everybody locally and internationally knows, say, yo, Uncle Barris is one of them ultimate performers.
Facts.
You can put your pot on fire and know, say, you gotta go Barris show and you gotta enjoy yourself because he's going to give you quality.
Yeah.
So again, it comes back also to a point that Scatter made when he was doing an interview with the Fix, and Scatter was basically outlining in the negotiation process, if you are charging $10 and we feel like we can't pay the $10, then okay, you leave it alone. But I think for promoters to kind of dictate and determine that I downsize and reduce my quality, because in truth, you can look on it that way as well. So if my band and when me come with a 19 people, it is 19.
No, but, and here's the thing. There have to be a compromise, there have to be negotiation, because at the end of the day, we have to also understand the reality. Even though I don't believe the brother, I'm not going to say Burris not carry 19 people, but I don't believe the brother, because from you talk about, from you're not credible with one thing, which I don't feel like 600 to 800 people are the only amount, that are the only number Burris can pull. I'm not going to believe the 19, say Burris carry 19, but even if Burris is bringing 19, and it depends on the region. Because a lot of times, why you think sometimes you will say usually you see like a keyboard player will play multiple keyboards. You understand what I say? Because at the end of the day, we have to also remember, say, everything come at a cost. The budget have to make sense.
I get that too, Chris.
So,
but if you book so you book an artist and then now they decide that, okay, me I gonna do this for this promoter, and then you go out there and people feel like you're, because when you go out there in the world and you are in Europe, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So at all times, you really and truly have to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, I understand that, but
I mean, now say them can't negotiate, you know, but we can negotiate, but do not try to dictate or determine who I bring with me. And remember, it was a similar thing with Eva Chronix, you know.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a point when Chronix was saying, I'm not traveling without my band.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and again, you see, we have to remember, say, and if we are running an industry, sustainability, everybody have to be, all the parties interested, all the parties' interest has to be represented. Fans have to feel like they might get a good show. Promoter, we are taking on the biggest risk. There have to be profitability inside there for him. And the artists have to feel like say they might get them money where them can live their life where them want to live and do all what they want to do. You get me? I say, if it's a case where it's only the artist a benefit, it's a problem. If it's a case where it's only the promoter a benefit, it's a problem. And same for the fans. You understand what I say? And this is the reason why I feel as if there needs to be standard. You understand what I say? So not because, for instance, not because cartel fee get exposed. And yes, let's say cartel, based on it where it's at now, cartel can pull a certain amount of persons in venue. Me not feel like say that's supposed to be a key, that's supposed to prompt all the other entertainers to say, yo, you know what? I hope you're somewhere go with me. You can revise your fee structure, but I think at the end of the day, because at the end, right now it come like say cartel fee then have an all tariff. I have a chub tariff it come like cartel fee have on. Because here's the thing, at 13 years people don't see him.
Yeah.
There's a catalog we him have where people want for just gain and presence, not necessarily for how you deliver it.
If there is a demand, then
you pay the price.
Exactly. So with that said, not every artist will be in a position to increase them fee. Them can reassess and look at it, but ultimately, if they are not in a position where they are like a Vybz Kartel, who is undoubtedly a crowd puller, right? Whether or not the event was sold out, he is a crowd puller, and the promoters will see the profitability is more likely. So for entertainers who are in a position and can do that, they now are in some way, them can make their demands.
Yes.
But if you can make your demands and feel like you just are going to say cartel price the year, so you're going to try to not match it, but you're going to increase it, when
you're not in the position
to demand it, you're likely to price yourself out of the industry, and you may find that you're going to even fall back lower than where you were before.
And the industry does suffer, and fans, because the reality, as I say, a lot of fans are blinded by the fact where them not realize promoters take on this risk to bring these entertainers to us.
And you made your point.
So people have to respect that as well.
You make a solid point in saying that it has to be beneficial to all parties involved. And ultimately, I cannot blame an artist who feel like, for example, in a Berry's case, and say, boy, this is my rider, this is my team, and whatever the case is. Of course, you can negotiate, but if it get to a space where you're going to negotiate like your standards that you set out there as an artist, if you have to compromise that, then something have to give, because I don't feel like an artist that is known then for working with a band, like in Berry's case. Can you imagine Berry's on tracks?
Yeah, and a hype man.
And a hype man and a DJ. But again, that also becomes a part of the negotiation process, because if you're going to say to me 19 strong is too much or whatever the case is, I need my backup singers because of the type of artist he is. It is necessary. So while you may have some artists who they have done it before, them can go with tracks and them hype man and whatever that them put out there. So again, are they selling themselves short? Are they putting themselves in a situation where when you want to use a band, for example, and charge more, promoters say, but we see your work before without your band, so you can go ahead.
You see?
Sometimes it's tough, you know, in trying to make the hard decisions, like how you want to be seen in the industry. Like, what is your brand?
Here, one thing I'll tell you. At the end of the day, for your industry strive, it's not, because it's not about one person charging
I take your point.
charging the amount where after them pass through that region with that promoter, the promoter can't keep back a next event. That is not the way. You understand what I say? So whatever negotiations have to happen, so everybody that's involved, interest is represented, that are the way. You get what I say?
I'm not saying that is not the way, you know.
No, me know you not say that.
Yeah, I agree with you in saying
So
that's
with
the
that,
way. I'm just also pointing out why it may seem like some people are coming off as being unreasonable, because again, it's almost
a lot
like,
of entertainers unreasonable still, you know. A lot of entertainers
it's
unreasonable.
almost like I voice commercials, right, for businesses and stuff out there, and I have my fee, and this is my fee, and you
The
will
standard
have.
is the standard.
I stand on business in that regard. There may be like some promoters, and then when I look at it, I say, all right, it's a trying business or whatever, and in those cases, I'll make the decision to compromise. But ultimately, yeah, me have a great voice.
But you,
So if you want it, you have to pay for it. So I totally understand it. And if I don't set that standard, then you hear my voice on every commercial, lose premium and that type of thing. So it is what it is. I totally get it. And like I said, I am flexible, you know?
Yeah, here's the thing. I
But-
feel as if an interesting thing though is, let's say for instance, entertainers who are keeping their own events like a popcorn, alkaline and all. It would be very interesting to see if they are seeing $1 million in net profit. Because here's the thing, and that's the thing, you know, sometimes if we operate in a way where, let's say for instance, negotiation, there's no negotiation, it's just this. You get to me? I said there's no, because at the end of the day, you know, really and truly, reggae and dancehall in trouble as it relates to live events at this point. First and foremost, live events in Jamaica is not even a thing so much anymore.
Like
because
before.
they say, yes, look, remember, you know, a Joan Downtown can save live music in a Jamaica, you know. You used to have jazz fest, reggae, because remember, it's a reggae sum fest. The owners sell it out to Joe. Who knows who knows what's the reason? Most likely, if they feel as if, oh, this is so profitable, they probably would pass it on to their kids.
Expenditure exceeds income.
And every day people come and cuss them. Hey, Johnny Guzang, where? You understand? And
Yeah.
so Joe start get that now. And believe it or not, I strongly believe, say, if Scatter wasn't involved with Downtown would have probably either go bankrupt already or run left it. So I don't know now that Scatter get recruited to Vibes Cartel team. I don't know how the industry how that will work.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying. And for people who probably miss it, it's almost like with some of the fees that the entertainers are charging, it means that sometimes it's like only international promoters are able to pay them. So
But
when
no
you have-
international promoters crying.
Right. And then Joseph Bogdanovich, who can afford to pay them, ultimately, you know, he might keep the thing afloat locally where fans in Jamaica can get an opportunity to see them. So yes, I agree with you, Chris, in saying that it is a real problem where the announcement of this fee, it has sparked a conversation. We see where St. Kitts and Nevis, them enter the chat, them go as far as we say Cartel is basically charging a similar price. Them a calculate, say the event need over 21,000 people to come in order for the promoter to be able to pay Cartel alone. Not taking into consideration, it's a 3-day festival. It have multiple artists on it, and their logistics and other elements are not taken into consideration as well.
Because a lot of these promoters now run the numbers. Them just a book the
So
clout.
we are not in the rooms, and we are not privy to the conversation to know if negotiations happened or if I give you my price and you're not balling down. You just say, all right.
No, man, we're pretty sure so them we actually negotiate. But one thing you have to know with entertainers, first and foremost, Jamaican entertainers, you have to, just to even start the conversation with them, you have to hear say, I true me know you, you know. And you see the thing, and sometimes I think it's a psychological thing, you know. You see once you hear an artist say, I'm a link, you know, I true me know you. It's like say, it kind of throw you off, so you feel like say, you drop your guard because you feel like them have your best interest at that point.
Yeah.
You understand what I say? And I feel as if, here's the thing, what's the reason why with reggae and dancehall being such a valuable product of Jamaica? Why is it only Joe, it seems, would be, as a businessman where probably, I don't want to say, he's not the only legitimate businessman, but the only businessman now where openly like put in them all into live events in Jamaica. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I know there were a number of factors that caused, you know, other events for stop keeping, because when the
ultimately a profitability.
No, yes, ultimately profitability. And then you had the introduction, for example, of Jams and JCap, and then, you know, you have to pay the police and, you know, all these elements that were reinforced. So once them enforce that, you know, we start seeing less and less events, because it's that in addition to entertainers, of course, started increasing their fees as well.
Remember, let's just so scatter saying 8 artists, you know. And when we're scattering 8 artists, let's just so the reality is, we can't sit and behave like say there's not an issue as it relates to.
No, there is an issue.
The booking, the charges where these are the price where these artists asking for, and how it's ultimately impacting the business and the culture. You get what I say? Because at the end of the day, Jamaica basically have one festival. You understand what I say? One real major festival where like we can be represented on a global level. You understand what I say? And if it's a case where all of these artists are pull out and perform in Jamaica because no promoter can't book them, and no promoter foreign promoters have a problem. So, I don't know where exactly them are going.
That's a huge question. Where does it leave the culture? And does this mean that entertainers now will have to reassess them thing and be more realistic in terms of what they're asking for? And like SIZZLA mentioned in that clip, you know, like he was saying that it is heartless when he thinks about like fans not being able to buy the ticket them. You understand? And then at the end of the day, it's almost like there is this double standard conversation where you say that you're doing things for the culture, you're doing things for the people, for the fans. And if you love the fans so much and you're doing it for them, where is your discretion? So I think with all of this, you know, KRIS, you would have also outlined, you know, all of the bullet points to say it is important that promoters, entertainers, all the players, you know, them on one accord, and, you know, you can successfully, efficiently and effectively have a negotiation and all parties involved, it can worth them while.
Yeah, everybody have to have each other interest.
Yeah.
It can't be just the promoter for them interest, the artists for them interest.
So of course, now we can move on to the next hot topic. It's all about Vybz Kartel's Atlanta show. The show, of course, you know, it was CJ Millan's first show at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta. And, you know, she make a post and I thank the entire team, but we were there. They're going to give you my POV and then we get in KRIS get in it as well and talk about Wagwan. But
yeah, maybe a hype man.
All right, so you know, of course, Cartel in Atlanta at the State Farm Arena. It was CJ Millan, the promoter's first time at the State Farm Arena. It was definitely a good vibe. Like even if you drive around Atlanta and I see the Vybz Kartel billboards and all of that. For me personally, as a Caribbean native and Jamaican national.
Yeah, man. Dancehall up on Front Street up in them town. Because Atlanta, a lot of artists will say them have shows in Atlanta, but it's not really Atlanta them have shows in. It's like probably on the outskirts and so. If a Cartel bring dancehall in the heart of the city, Buju did it too with his show.
So Buju and Cartel from the culture. So that was a big deal.
Thing. Yeah, man.
Next door to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah, not anybody can do that.
Yeah. So before we get into the specifics though of the event and details as it relates to Wagwan. Of course, across social media, I see some people saying that the event was sold out. It wasn't sold out, it was packed.
Yeah.
And this is what I observed. Yeah, you could have seen pockets here and there, but nonetheless, packed. And people have to understand, like, that is no easy feat.
No, and it's just unfortunate when people behave as if a venue like that, if it's not sold out, then the artists don't deserve credit. Deserve all the credit, because being inside there, even though it wasn't sold out, it's like when you look around and say, yo, a whole heap of people listen.
A lot.
A whole heap of people listen. One interesting thing is that the restriction where you couldn't carry, because people have them Jamaican flags and all that. Where them
Caribbean nationals are represent with
Yeah.
them flags and thing. And like Chris said, one of the restrictions, they can't enter with any flags. And we witnessed people getting their flags taken away or told that you have to go put it in your car or whatever, but you cannot enter into the arena with your flag. So yeah, that was something that we saw. No, Ricky Platinum, big up yourself. MC Nuffy, big up yourself.
Anything the general say, and that cause the people that come out to see. Business and business, and we stand on business. Ladies and gentlemen, yo, like my neck off the light.
Him set the stage, him set the vibe. You know, Spice was there. She's from Atlanta. She brought out her Love and Hip Hop Atlanta castmate, Scrappy.
Yeah.
Personally, I did feel like our set was a little too long. But you know, Spice do her thing. She called out people from the audience. And one thing with Gracie, you know, she's a creative.
Yeah, man,
It's when our
creativity.
dancers them come out like a goat. Our set was, you know, she have her vibrant moments just the same and all of that. One thing though jump out at me. Me not really know Gracie as the type to do no lip sync and them thing there. And
Yeah.
there were a few songs where she did that way there. I don't know if she did it because Love and Hip Hop Atlanta was there, but as Queen of Dancehall and thing, she never really needed because she has done it multiple times.
And our voice have so much presence even when she talk. Even though like most of the songs that are staples in her set, she didn't lip sync those.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know if it's like newer songs that she was lip syncing or what, but
Yeah.
pretty like her, the songs where you know her for, she really DJ them.
What I know for sure though, she don't need it.
No.
She never need it at all.
For real.
But you know, from Gracie and Ting, then we say Vibes Cartel come out. Him bring out people in their performance and thing, you know, Akon, and I think Akon was like a good surprise for the people them. Another person who came out with Cartel, you know, Black Rhino, him get a big forward when him come out and thing. But I felt like, you know, after Rhino come out and him get the big forward and he was delivering a song by himself, I kind of feel, you know, the energy, they drop a little bit. So I think that's something him have to work on because him have it, you know, you can't see the people them love him. So.
Yeah, it was a good surprise for people.
Yeah, it was a good surprise. Another good surprise was 21 Savage. You know, he's an Atlanta rapper, so the people them did love that. And you know, he gifted Cartel a Rolex backstage and thing.
Pure gifts.
Look, you know, she said the boss not for buying no jewelry.
Not for buying nothing, man. For real. And that's actually a good thing for sure how the impact him have on us connecting cultures and all of that. We see Popcorn do it. We see quite a few of them out there where we really have to give them credit. So not only Cartel alone.
Cartel actually did surprise me because me did don't condition my mind say like, yo, me go the event and you know, I'm gonna play him song and do him thing. But he actually played the rhythm and him a DJ and you could hear him clearly. That did surprise you?
Absolutely, because the only time I remember him lip syncing was when Russian come out. Like I think somewhere there so. and part of Akon, like Akon appearance. I'm not sure, but one thing we can say, like, personally, I did feel like some of the go strictly at the rave, and you know, I'm gonna just hype it up and sing some parts, but it was just all instrumental throughout him set, with the exception of what I just mentioned. And he's DJing, and there's some songs was delivered better than some, but there are songs where you can hear say, yo, hear the original Cartel there. You can see say at the end of the day, just kind of working on it, it will be constant improvement.
For me, definitely, I did see the growth in terms of how he delivered himself and what my expectation was like going into the event. But I think for me, like, my highlight surprise guest was Massicka. And I think even how Cartel do it, because him kind of give the crowd the impression that Massicka never did it, because he must say, you see, Massicka did that, you know what he would have said? The dogs them up and live. And then, you know, lo and behold, you hear Massicka voice. I figured, you know, that was such an epic moment, and I think it also symbolizes the first time Cartel and Massicka is actually sharing a stage. And, you know, that kind of was a good vibe. It was a good look for the culture.
Interestingly, that kind of re-energized Cartel, because there are some parts of the show, there's highs and lows in some areas, but then it's like, so when Massicka forward and lift up the place in Cartel, and then when Massicka walk off, it's like the Cartel get this, like it just refuel him.
My analogy of that is like Massicka reignited Black Cartel.
Facts.
Because you see, after Massicka come off, him just reload him gangster tune them, you know.
It's like him just start the show. And this is him DJing, not songs playing.
No, not songs
instrumental playing. And him DJing.
Him DJing pan him instrumental. The only thing, of course, you know, some songs would get pull up fast. And that type of thing. But Massicka definitely did ignite the Black Cartel. And right as KRIS mentioned, it was almost closing time for the event. So Cartel did kind of express the boy, this is why I'm doing like arena shows, because of just the restrictions and that type of thing. And he ended with God is the greatest. And, you know, him kind of did have an emotional moment, and him a bun Satan and that type of thing before him exit. Kudos to Vybz Kartel and his team, and big up again to CJ Milan, because the presentation was good. You know, like the optics, just for the culture and all of that. So it's a good look.
I want to tell us, now that him we see him, I don't know if he will continue just using instrumental and delivering his own DJing straight, but it's going to be interesting to see what him have planned for Sumfest.
I think possibly it may be a start, because you know how Jamaicans stay, and to have your actual tracks playing and you singing over your track, that's not a Jamaican thing. It's a foreign thing. It's a hip-hop thing. So our culture, we're not used to that. We used to the artists, them a go up on stage and them a replicate them sound. So who knows, that may very well be the start of what people are going to say when him forward a reggae fest next month.
And with it, and you know, say it's just, sometimes I feel like, say, probably if him rest more and probably schedule some like frequent rehearsal, it can get there. Because when I tell you, say, there was times where I hear it and I say, yo, especially the hardcore song them. Because you know, the other song them, like in party song them, and the girls sang them very melodic, and them have a lot of key, and you understand what I say? Them very fancy. So you see the hardcore song them, like him deliver them like, oh, you know, him deliver most of them like, oh, you know, original Black Cartel.
So, you know, all in all, good experience. I'm happy that I went, and you know, it was a good vibe all in all. So on the note of arenas and thing, we know that Bounty Killer will be at the Barclays Center come July 5. And what if people are talking and I say, boy, well, Chin, Chin start the conversation, and Chin is saying that from Irish and Chin, he must say, boy, it should have been Bounty Killer in concert, and them should not advertise Massicka, Idonia, and Movado. Do you agree with Chin in pandem levels?
Initially, when I see Chin post,
yeah,
I say, no, him have a point, Him have a point, because people start said it already.
Yes.
People start said it already. But when I see the amount, when I say it was like 4 artists or 3, yeah. After that, I say maybe. Me get what China say, and maybe they could have, because it's slightly take away from just the killer, the killer energy or the killer experience. Is it Bounty
Killer's return?
So since it's a Bounty Killer return, I feel like it would be good if them just say Bounty Killer return with friends from Alliance or something like that. You understand what I mean? So with that now, it would have still give Killer that prestige, presence. And then people don't know, say you are Bounty Killer, that, So when you say friends from Alliance, anybody can turn up. I want to tell you, say, maybe a lot of people would have probably forward thinking, say, the possibility of Movado and Cartel even being present is a thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And I think even that element of not knowing, like if they did it that way, just where people are wondering who from the Alliance, even if Busy Signal are going to show up or whatever the case is, or how far back in the Alliance, the friends are going to be.
And if Killer forward and say, yo, like, you come out and, probably me and my sons or whatever it is, so you just never know. And let's say, for instance, even if Vado reposts it, Cartel reposts it, right there now, that kind of bring up like as I said, people are gonna feel like say, yo, two of them probably will forward, You understand what I said?
I think it would have been like a greater anticipation, like not being so frank to say, Movado and Idonia and including the inclusion of Massicka and stuff. I think that would have created more of a buzz around it, but then it makes you wonder, was this a business move by the promoter?
Probably business move, because probably it's a business move. Because at the end of the day, it all come down to business. Because again, it's risk involved. And while we up on social media or sit down here and talk what we would have liked to see our
what would
sound
look
good,
nice,
how would have look nice.
Yeah. We not absorb the cost.
No, and the risk. So at the end of the day, we can run off from out all we want, run it off. But at the end of the day, the promoter and whoever and the promoter partners or whoever, that's it really, that's the reality.
Because that's another reality too, as it relates to even arena shows. Like you're getting in real time how the tickets are going. You're seeing people buying their seats.
Public knowledge.
And it is public knowledge because anybody can go up on Ticketmaster or wherever and get the information and see how the thing are moving or not moving.
Right. This lineup versus a Bounty Beanie bill, which I feel like would be more.
I think maybe for like the Barclays, for example, say you had like a Bounty Beanie vibe, I feel like that would tap into a whole generation. Yeah. And like for the culture, just to see them showcase their thing in the US. I know they did it in England, but then the fact that the US
that was
has
structured
never
or advertised.
Has never seen something like that. I still feel like
that would have been
something as well. Not to take away anything from Massicka, Movado, or Idonia,
it's just
but
the generation.
Yeah, and the whole Bounty Killer Beanie Man rivalry over years and what they have done. So,
but
could that be a thing?
I feel like I said we're probably not going to ever get that now. I think based on, because if we're going to get it after all of this, it probably the time pass.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to just kind of know said that's all
off the
wishful,
table.
yeah, wishful thinking off
But
the
you know,
table.
let us see, you know, the bounty funds them, if them going roll out on July 5. By the way, roll out on July 5 and
Yeah,
support.
no see
Do
if,
it.
yeah,
Do it.
Yeah, man.
But what do you think? Hit up the comments and share your thoughts. You know, make we know if there's any subject that we discuss, any conversation. Drop it in the comments and all of that. What you say, Chris? Anything we are leave out or?
I think we cover the timeline still. Why, you know, the business busy, you know, so we still have to stop
Yeah.
at some point, you know,
Yeah,
and pick
yeah,
up
yeah.
at a next episode or something.
Next week.
Yeah.
Next week, right?
Yeah, next week. I remember them need to tune in to the review them during the week.
Yes. Make sure, because SIZZLA, of course, you know him concert happen, but make sure you catch the review Monday and thing for know what go on. But before we close off, you know the Shreps, big up to the LEVELZ community. Thank you to our new subscribers. And if it's your first time checking in, just make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. Be a part of the LEVELZ community. And leaving you on a positive note, don't make nobody determine your worth. Know your worth. Yeah?
If you add some tariff on your charge, add it. Simple.
Chris, stop it. I said a positive note.
But that's still positive. What is it? No?
All right. I hate that. We out.